Oh, for sure. I just am going to start recording on the Zoom because what we're trying to do is record the Zoom as well as we're trying to record the Zoom as well as the whatever you call it.
Right.
Hold on. Ugh, I want it to not be so tall or flat. Why is it not working? There we go. We're going to put it over behind my computer.
Now, where are you? You are...
I'm in Arizona. Okay.
Arizona. Okay.
I think that should be good for the video. Don't mind the boobies. Good freaking grief. Okay, so now we're going to mute each other. I'm going to start the live video on my phone. And so I'm just going to be talking to you on the phone. It's just going to record our audio on the computer is what I'm hoping. And then we'll have 2 recordings so that I can put this on the podcast for Ocular Insight too.
Awesome.
Okay.
So now I'm waiting for an invitation, correct?
Yes, and I have to start the live. Interview with... it's spelling me wrong. Is it Nicolette?
Yes. Nicolette.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that I was making that correctly. Okay, I'm going to start the live.
Okay.
I know we're a couple minutes late.
That's okay.
So now we're going to mute each other on here. Well, don't mute, just turn the volume off.
Okay.
Okay. Hi, guys. I am going to be adding Nicolette here in just a sec. Okay, let's see. Where'd it go? Live in a room. There we go. Okay, it should give you an invite to join, and then we should link up on our phones. So just hang tight for a sec. I can hear you.
Let me just make sure my volume.
It sounds good to me.
Okay.
But yeah, you just want to make sure on the computer that you can't hear me on the computer. You should be able to hear me on your phone, but not on the computer. This is so complicated.
That's okay. We got it down.
Okay. And can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Can you still hear me okay?
Perfect.
Perfect. Okay. I have my AirPods and sometimes they're a little bit iffy. So let's just dive in. I'm going to introduce you real fast, and I guess I'll introduce myself briefly really fast too, so they're not like, who's this person? So my name is Danae Peterson. I am with Ocular Insight. I run their social media page here on Instagram. And I had the idea about a month ago to start gathering stories of people who have been diagnosed with ocular melanoma like myself, like many of the people within the nonprofit who just have been dealing with this for, months, years, many years, which is a good thing, honestly. So this is someone that I was able to connect with because she started following our page, and we connected, I think, on, I don't remember if it was on this page or on my other Instagram, like on my personal Instagram, but she was excited and ready to share her story. So this is Nicolette, and she's from the East Coast. She was diagnosed September 2020, so right in the craziness of COVID, just like me. I was only diagnosed about 6.5 months ago, and it's been a bit of a roller coaster. But Nicolette is younger. She is 22 years old right now, and she just finished college, I believe is what you said, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I just want you to go ahead and just dive in, like pretend like you've never shared your story before with me and I don't know anything, and talk to me about like the beginning and the middle and where you are now.
Yeah. Okay. So like you said, my name is Nicolette. I'm from Westchester, Pennsylvania. So a little bit further from you, but, and so I guess I can start. I just am a recent graduate from Kutztown University. I'm in May, I say to everybody, like, I was living a perfect life. Everything was awesome. I was just graduating. Obviously, the world was crazy because it was COVID and everything like that. But I was having a great time. I was with all my friends up at school. We were quarantining together. Everything was just going perfect. I found an amazing boyfriend. My family was awesome. And the one thing that was commonly through this was my family was all healthy. And so we were just kind of like going day to day. And I came home in June.
Hold on one sec.
Again, everything was going great. Summer was awesome. And I just kind of was like, ready to go into the world. I just graduated. So, I just was like, here's the next step. So I luckily landed a job right out of college. Not many people did because of COVID and everything, but I was lucky enough to land a job right away. And I started in August. And all of a sudden, I guess I should say, a tragedy happened in our family. One of our really good friends had passed away, and it was a tragedy. And we were doing one of her favorite things. She loved to work out, and one night we all got together and we were working out outside, and without a cloud in the sky, it was sunny. It was no rain at all. There was a rainbow in the sky, and we kind of believe in signs. We knew that was her saying she was okay. And I looked up at the rainbow and I was like, I can't see it. Like, it's weird. And I kind of shut my one eye and I was like, something's wrong. I started to see dark. It was like a curtain coming down, and I was like, something's wrong, but I've been upset. I have contacts, something. I'm just going to kind of throw this behind me and just keep moving, in hopes that it would wake up in the morning and it would go away. But unfortunately, that was not the case. I then on Sunday went to my mom and I was like, something is actually wrong. And I don't know what it is, but we have to get it taken care of. I was scared. I mean, all of a sudden you're seeing everything perfectly normal, and all of a sudden it was taken away. So I went to the doctor, my eye doctor, and he thought it was a retinal tear, which here I am like, retinal tear, it's curable. I'll be able to see again, and he sent me to a retina specialist where my retina specialist had found a mass. Probably one of the hardest things about all of this whole experience has been being alone. With COVID and everything. My parents were waiting for me in the car on this appointment, and I got an ultrasound of my eye, and the doctor said that he had found a mass that was in the back of my eye. And I kind of looked at him in blank stares, like, what? Like, what are you saying to me? And I literally said, can I please call my mom? And he said, yeah, you can. And he explained it to my mom, and I got in the car and I was like, what is happening? It's kind of, you hear that, but I wasn't diagnosed with cancer yet.
It was just like, here's a tumor in your eye.
There's a tumor in
like,
your eye, but we don't
figure that out.
Yeah. So they said that they wanted me to go to Wills Eye Hospital in Philadelphia. And we're very, very lucky to have Wills Eye right around the corner from us, basically.
So where do you live again? Sorry, remind me.
I'm in Westchester, PA. So
okay, so you are in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I'm in Pennsylvania. So I'm about like 40 minutes kind of to Wills Eye Hospital. So that has been such a blessing. We are so lucky to have such amazing doctors and nurses down there. So then I got an appointment at Wills Eye Hospital on September 28th. Where I went to Shields & Shields Oncology, where Dr. Carol Shields became my oncologist. She then diagnosed me with ocular melanoma, and our life was turned upside down. As a family, my parents and my sister, who have been absolutely my rocks through all of this, were waiting in the parking garage on FaceTime when I was diagnosed. Again, the hardest part out of all of this. I'm 22 years old, just graduated college. You never think you're going to get diagnosed with cancer, but being alone has been probably one of the hardest things. I was diagnosed, and she told one things that I kind of was just like, I want to know was, what did I do to get this? And, I said to her, what did I do to get this? And she said, I want you to know you did nothing. It's not, and it was like she knew me. She said to me, it's not how many times you've been on your phone, what you've eaten, what you've drank, where you've been in the sun. Yeah, she said to me, it's not how many times you've laid on the Jersey Shore beaches. You did nothing. And for 1 second, I could breathe a little. Like, I know that I didn't do anything to get this. This isn't just my body. But then here we are, I'm 6 in 1 million people. And so many people say, we already knew you were special, but how is this happening to you? You know, but
I totally get that.
yeah. And so that's kind of where I was. So I was diagnosed in September, and then on October 1st, I went into, plaque week. I went for a crazy time. So I got my plaque in on October 1st and removed on October 5th. So it kind of was like, what, I had no idea what was happening the whole time. Like it just was, but I was lucky enough to have, they put more of a lead shield over me. So my family could be with me in the hotel room for the 5 days. So that definitely was awesome. Just support and just kind of, what is happening. But the doctor gave me this plan and I kind of went on. We didn't have any questions. They knew what they were doing. And I had no idea. And I still kind of say, I still have no idea, but we just kind of are learning as we go. So I had the plaque radiation removed on the 5th, and then kind of was taken from there. I went back in February. I luckily had clean scans to know that there's no active cancer in my body. And they did tell me that if they did remove the tumor in my eye, it would be cancer-free. So that was a huge relief for sure. But then it's when it sets in, and I physically feel amazing. I feel great. Mentally, it's been a game. And, when I tell people that I can't see, I can only see out of one eye, that it's kind of like, what?
Yeah, it's like they don't look at you and go, hey, you can't see out of that eye.
Right.
But what do you mean? You should be fine. And I don't know how big your plaque was, but I know that my plaque was really big. So if you get up close and personal, my eye still looks pretty nasty, and it's been 6 months. I still can't open it quite as much as the other one. There's just a few complications that just for me, I notice, but most other people, they're just no, you look great. You're not what is it? Quasimodo, is that his name? You're not Quasimodo anymore. Your eyes open, you're fine. I'm well, yeah, but my eye's blind. Don't come up on my blind side or I will be pissed.
Yeah,
my poor kids. Yeah.
That's probably one of the hardest things, it's I'm just getting news, amazing news, that there was no cancer and all of that has been so awesome. And then it's when it all set in. I was
it's oh, this cost me my sight in this.
How am I supposed to just go back to normal when I, can't see? But it's been such a journey, and I say to people, the reason I keep going is the people I surround myself with. Like I said, my parents and my sister have been literally my rocks and the reason why I keep going. My boyfriend has kind of just come into this whole thing and just kept going. My friends, my family, and the doctors and nurses just know exactly what they're doing. I mean, I was dropped off for surgery by myself with nobody because of COVID, and those doctors and nurses were like, let's do this, we have you. And for that, I'm super grateful. But so that's kind of where I was and where I am right now. I just 2 weeks ago, I just got laser therapy on my eye to try to break down scar tissue. And then I do get injections every 4 months. So that is kind of right now. And every 6 months, I do get scans of my body. So hopefully, but I can't think about those scans. I have to focus on now. And that's how I kind of keep going. And that's kind of my journey and how I kind of landed where I am now. It's been a ride, but one thing I do love is to talk about it. When so many people are kind of should we ask her? She looks fine, so we're not gonna ask her. But I'm I want to talk about it. This is who I am, and it kind of has now in my life fueled a fire in myself to keep going and wanting to go and wanting to continue. And when people say, what can I do for you? If they can do one thing, go get your eyes checked. I mean, I was lucky enough to get a sign of loss of vision, but if
Not everybody does. Yeah.
not everybody does. And I feel like if using these resources and being connected to people who know exactly how you feel is definitely what gets us through. And
Oh, for sure.
yeah. So that's kind of where I am now.
No, I love like listening to you talk about this because you are, I mean, I feel like there are some rare people I feel like in this kind of a diagnosis. And, you know, maybe many of us are like this. And not to say that we don't feel defeated or anxiety ridden or any of the big, huge feelings that come with this kind of a diagnosis. But I feel like there is maybe a rare bubble of people who are able to look at this and go, okay, like, what's the gift? Like, what's the gift in today? Where can I find the gift that's happening right now? And I feel like you're definitely one of those people who has just taken this as it's come and just said, okay, like, I have to deal with this. Like, I have no choice. I have to deal with this. But at the same time, like, I'm not willing to lie down and be depressed and be sad and be angry at the rest of the world that this has happened to me. I'm going to advocate for people. I'm going to advocate for myself. I'm going to share my story and I'm going to connect with as many people as I can so that I don't feel alone. And that's how I felt. Like, that was like hands down with any hard experience. Like, I'm not much older than you are. I'm 29. And with any hard experience that I've had from the time I was 22 when I had my first baby and I had postpartum depression till now with eye cancer, I have learned how to lean in to that community and to just lean into vulnerability and to be okay with telling people I'm not okay. And I need your help. I need your support. I need, your prayers. I need, oh my gosh, I'm going to try to not get emotional, but like, I need that. And I think that someone like you who's willing to put yourself out there, who's willing to talk about this, you're going to be the reason that someone else who gets this diagnosis and comes into it with that victim mentality of like, how come this happened to me? And they're stuck in that mindset. Someone like you is going to be the reason that they come in and they say, wait, hold on. I don't have to stay here. Like, yes, I can feel sad. Yes, I can feel angry. I can feel all the feelings that come with this kind of a diagnosis, but I don't have to live there for the rest of my life. I can pick things up. I can have a positive attitude and trust my doctors. I can just take things a day at a time. And that is what I see you doing. Like, literally just taking life by the reins and like, you're not willing to back down. And I love that. I think that's going to serve you really, really well, like for the rest of forever. And let's just, like someone else said, let's just like keep on like sending all the vibes that like, you know what, like, we're going to be here like in 20 years, 50 years, we're going to be here and we're going to grow old and this cancer isn't going to take our lives. We'll be fine. And so I wanted to ask you, you mentioned having like just dealt with a loss right before you were diagnosed. What has been something like, knowing that you have dealt with, or you have maybe been confronted with death, and that this is the kind of diagnosis that if you're unfamiliar with ocular melanoma, it's an extremely rare and aggressive cancer. And what this means is that even if it's taken care of in your eye, like you have a plaque radiation that's successful and the cancer is killed in your eye, there are still anywhere from a 10% up to, I think, a 70% chance that somewhere in the next 2 to 5 years of the future, or even longer for some people, this could just suddenly show up one day in your liver or your lungs. And so like that unknown and that uncertainty, that feeling of like helplessness can be really, really, I feel like detrimental to our mental health as patients in the cancer world. And I know, like for me, like one thing that has helped has been focusing on like how, yes, that's uncertain, that unknown is there, but that unknown is always there. Like the possibility of us getting in a car accident or something tragic happening in our lives different than cancer is always there. And so like, I try to ground myself in the fact that like, I don't have cancer in my liver or my lungs. My eye is responding to treatment. I'm fine. Like right now, even if I can feel that anxiety, I'm fine right now. So I was just going to ask you, like, what is something that maybe, could you like link it back? Like, do you feel like that's maybe helped you, knowing that like loss is there and that possibility is there? Sure. I guess to confront this and not be so paralyzed by the unknown, so to speak.
Yeah. And kind of like what you were just saying, like my mom always said in the beginning of this, feel all the feels, feel all of them, feel all the feels, but do not unpack there. And it taking that and not unpacking, but keep on going has like definitely been why I'm getting up every day and, you know, trying to keep going. And unfortunately, I did have to leave my job because it was so new and I was in a hard spot. Had just started and I just was trying to get on track. And the one thing that I could control in my life, because I couldn't control my eye, was the things that I had to eliminate. And one of those was my job, but that also has fueled a fire in me. You know, I want to keep going. I'm 22 years old. I have so much in the world to do and see. And because of that is the reason I'm like going. But linking it back to, you know, just feeling that loss, but also feeling the feels of it all happened at once. And I feel like there was no time to digest any of it. And I just feel like, you know, we don't know the reason why we were given this. We might never know, but one day we will. And like you said, if we can help that one person, that's kind of why I keep going. But it's just so, it's crazy. And some days I wake up and I'm like, you know, is my eyesight there? Do I have anything? Like, you know, because, you know, I have talked to people and somebody did say, I do relate this to losing somebody and losing, because you are going through that grieving process of your loss of vision. And then kind of, you know, how people are so, in the beginning of a grieving process, everybody's there and everybody is right by you and won't ever leave you. And then life has to go back to normal. And life for us with ocular melanoma being diagnosed, life won't go back to normal because we have that worry. You know, I get in the car every day and I check the weather a million times. Is it gonna rain? Is it gonna be dark before I get back? You know, I have that worry. I text my mom saying, is it gonna rain? Like, is it, what's the weather? Is it okay? You know, that's a worry for me. And
Yeah, like, can I even drive? Because like it's anxiety producing to drive in the rain. I know we had this crazy storm when I went to pick up my son from school and it just like came out of nowhere. Like it wasn't in the weather forecast, just dropped. And I was just like, okay, like I can't handle this. Like my kids are trying to talk to me. I'm like, Mommy can't talk right now.
It's just a test.
Like I feel like we need bumper stickers. Disclaimer. I don't like the rain and I have a blind spot. Like it's a big one.
For sure. And I think that just, you know, it's seeing the people who I surround myself with to keep me going but I also have found out, probably a lot of people on here that know me well and know that I'm a very happy-go-lucky person. You know, every day is a good day. And if there's something bad going on, you know, that's a worry because so many people just know who I am and know what I'm about and how I keep going, you know, just very positive outlook on things. And I've learned through all of this that it's okay not to be okay. And I didn't know what it was like to be not okay, but being a 22-year-old girl and wanting so much when you came out of college and that kind of being crumbled, you feel like it's okay not to be okay. And to realize that has been so an amazing thing for me because I'm kind of, you know, everybody deals with it differently, but being able to realize that and keep going and have those people, you know, I say to people, I learned this. I would wish this upon not anybody, but I've learned this and I'm learning how to live with it. But check in on your people. You know, check in on those people who you just want to make sure are okay. And I have found that I've taken a step back from checking in on people because it's kind of, you know, you take that and you're like, I am going through something that I don't wish upon anybody, but I don't know why I'm here. and why this is happening. But realizing all of that and knowing that it's okay not to be okay, but there are people who will be there to hold your hand to make you okay is what keeps me going. And like I've said a bunch of times, my family and friends and my boyfriend and my doctors and nurses, they are the reason why I keep going. And that will forever be something that I will never forget. My mom constantly says to my sister and I, what you give out in your lifetime will come back to you. And at 22 years old, I wish I never in a million years had to find out what that really meant. But I'm lucky enough to say everything that I have given out in my life did come back to me, and forever will be grateful for this experience, but as well as the being able to share my strength and share what I'm trying to overcome and who I am and why I'm here because of it. So I did have one friend who said to me, and he's probably on here, I think, he said to me, Nicolette, we never thought that you would ever win a fight, but if it was a fight, if it was any fight that you would win, it would be this one. And I know that I kind of take that with me and kind of am like, I did fight the fight, and I will fight the fight for the rest of my life. And it isn't easy, but because of that, that positive outlook on things and being able to connect with people who know exactly how I feel, I will win this fight, and I will keep going, and I will help others fight the fight. And it's been crazy, and it's been a whirlwind of the past 7 months, as you probably know.
No, for sure.
You take it and you run with it, and there's so much for us to see. And although it might be with one eye, I say ocular melanoma will never change my life, but gives me such a reason to want to live it. So
I love that.
Yeah. So there's so much more in life to keep going. And at a young age, there are most people who get this aren't young, might not have what we will have, maybe technology wise, and what they will find in the future. And we're lucky enough to be a part of that. So
yeah, no, I agree. Like a part of the research and just those kinds of things.
Sure.
And we can totally talk about this another time too, but I don't know if you've looked into the clinical trials in Philadelphia. I'm in one of the clinical trials right now. And I guess for me, that gives me some sense of like, just because of the nature of like my tumor is one of the higher risk tumors. I'm a class 2. Or my tumor is a class 2. I am not a class 2. My tumor is. But my tumor is considered higher risk of spread. And so I just, of course, that's extra fuel to the fire of crazy in the middle of all of this. You go through the plaque week of hell, and then you have to wait for the biopsy, and then you get your biopsy, and it's like, oh, well, great. This is more news to deal with. And this, I guess the clinical trial for me has given me that little sense of control of like controlling what I can control. And I can trust that, that my body is going to continue to withstand the medication well. And so far it has, which has been a really big gift. But have you looked into any of the adjuvant clinical trials, or do you know the biopsy results from your tumor?
Yeah, I'm lucky enough that I'm in the lowest grade. So at the moment right now, they said to me that I don't need to look further into that right now. And maybe, in future to come, I hope that I don't have to be a part of it just because I am a lower class, but definitely super interesting. Definitely so cool.
Yeah, for sure.
See so many people benefiting from it. The research is doing its job, and there is a future for people who will be diagnosed with this. There will be things more to help. And I think it's so amazing, but I am lucky enough to kind of I didn't have to get into that. So,
well, that's definitely something to be grateful for sure as well.
For sure. And
I guess I feel like if you have to have ocular melanoma, have type 1, like or class 1, because that's at least supposed to be a little better, but it's still scary. You're still confronting the unknown. There still really is no guarantees. Like they tell you, well, we think this is your risk factor, but they can't promise you anything. which is kind of the same for life. Like, we don't have any guarantees in life. Like, literally any of us could get in a car accident in 5 minutes on the road. Please don't be driving and watching this. I hope nobody is driving and watching this. Disclaimer, watch the road. Don't get in a car accident. But yeah, no, go ahead.
One thing I have really taken out of this, I love to work out. It's kind of been such a stress relief throughout.
Yeah, like an outlet.
A total outlet. So I go to a gym, and they do, somebody said to me that you need to focus and say, you are not having a bad day, but maybe your eye is having a bad day. And my boyfriend constantly reminds me, Nicolette, you are not having a bad day, just maybe your eye is. And we want to make plans to do things, but I'm always hesitant. How am I going to feel? What if I can't do this? What if I can't see? And what if something happens to my good eye? But he told me a couple weeks ago, let's make plans as if you're going to be okay. And if you're not okay, then we'll revisit it. But you have to keep living. And I'm realizing that to keep going, you have to take those and just take that opportunity and kind of go for it. And if you're not okay on that day, then you will figure it out. But you might not be having a bad day, but your eye might. And I
love that. That's a good idea. Like, channel the negative energy into your eye, because that's the only place it should go anyway.
Right. And that's the place, what has brought me to be so hesitant. My eye is the reason that I am hesitant to go out and do things. But I have to relate that back to just my eye and say, my eye is making me feel this way, but I don't feel this way. And
yeah, like, you're strong, you're capable, you can totally do any of the things you put your mind to. So have you tried anything? I mean, I know let's see, you got diagnosed in September, treated in October. So we're what, 5 months into, how far? Maybe I'm further along than I thought. I swear, I think maybe I'm like 8 months.
Almost 7, I think.
Okay. You might be 6 and I'm like 7 or 8 or maybe 8 or 9. I don't even know anymore. I stopped doing math. But have you I know obviously things have been happening with the virus and all the craziness of shutdowns and things like that. But have you been able to, do anything in the last little while that you're just like, you wouldn't have said yes to that if you hadn't been, in this kind of position right now?
Yeah.
Or, is there something that you plan to say yes to in the near future as things start opening up and you can do more?
Yeah, I guess, like, we have totally, as a family, totally respected this whole craziness in the world. But we have been taught with this that you have to live life a little bit. And I think that, just being able to, obviously not everything's opened, but being able to just kind of be able to just say, like, I want to do that and not think about my eye for a minute, whether it's just being with friends, being with family, doing little things, going out to restaurants, or, one thing, like going out to a restaurant, I have to be at a certain spot on the table because I'm nervous that I won't be able to read or I won't be able to see what's coming this way. And so there's been things that have taught me through this. I've been taught through all of this. And
just kind of like what your comfort level is and what you need and what you need from people.
For sure.
No, I totally relate to that.
Yeah. And I think, like, you realize it's something new every single day. It's like, I wear my glasses sometimes and I'm like, well, wearing my glasses helps my eye because it might be giving the little vision that I might have. It might be clear. And then I wear contact in my one eye and I'm like, but this is so much better. You're just learning things.
I'm so glad I'm not the only one who does that sometimes because I have glasses, obviously, but I also have a set of contacts, lots of them that I can wear in this eye, only this eye, because this one, it would not help.
Oh,
and I totally do it one time every now and then, but I can't, I guess I feel like I deal with, visual strain or like maybe more visual exhaustion when I'm wearing my contacts. And so, like, if I'm wearing a contact in this eye, I don't really know if it's in my head or if it's just something else. I don't know. But I wear the contact and then this eye starts to hurt. And I'm like, okay, what the heck? So I just lately have just not done the contacts. But every now and then, like, the glasses start to hurt your ears. And like, it's just nice to be able to have that kind of give yourself a break. But I know that wearing glasses is technically safer for keeping and preserving the good eye like sight.
Yeah. And that's like what, and I said, like, that is one of my huge worries is like, what if something happens to my good eye? You know, like if something happens to my good eye, I won't be able to see. And that is a fear every day. I worry constantly, you know, like, if something, you know, if I get an eyelash in there, I'm like, something's wrong, you know?
Oh, I totally get it.
And you depend so much. And this is kind of like, I know that you probably know your body quickly adjusts. Like what eye is your cancer in?
Mine is in my right eye.
Right eye. So mine's in my left. But so my right eye, I literally pray at night. I'm like, please be okay. And are you okay? Because you are doing
like everything. Check in, please. Like you're doing all the work.
Yeah, I'm like, thank you for just giving me two eyes and being able to see out of that one. And it's just the little things. And
so, I mean, I totally just had this thought, but you know how like people have kidneys? Obviously, we have kidneys. We have two of them, right? And you can live with one kidney. Well, you know, good news, you can live with one eye. Just like with one kidney, but at the same time too, like if for whatever reason, you know, we can't live without at least one kidney. So, you know, with eyes, at least I guess kind of my consolation when I have that worry crop up of like, what if I lose the sight in my other eye? Like, yes, that would be a huge loss to not be able to, you know, see things like my kids growing up or just the world around us. That would be a big loss for sure. But at the same time, people are blind from birth. And that is something that I definitely trust that, like, if that ever happened, I could figure that out. And I think that that's kind of something that you had said too earlier. It's just like, yep, like whatever comes, like I'm going to figure it out when it comes, but I don't need to like worry about it twice and stress about it ahead of time. Like you said, you don't have to unpack and live there if it comes up. Like you just acknowledge that like, okay, yeah, you're feeling some worry about this. Like, it's okay that you're feeling anxious about losing your eye. Like, is your eye okay? Check in. We're good. We're good. But I mean, I feel like that's kind of all we can do is just constantly have that check-in with ourselves.
And you're exactly right. You know, so many people have lived with this forever. And I have an amazing friend who works with blind children. And it's kind of like, you know, I never thought that I would be where I am, but like her knowledge has helped me. And like little things, it's just, I realize how much you appreciate what you have and what you've had and what I am able to see and what I'm able to still see. And it's, you know, it's, although there's so much to see in this world, this isn't going to stop us at this age. And like you said, not being able to see your kids grow up and not being able to, you know, I have so many things to look forward to in the future, and not being able to see in that thought scares the heck out of me.
But the good news is it's just a thought.
Yeah, and that's how we have to live right now. That is just a thought, and I will keep going because of that thought. I want to live right now, and being able to do that. And like I said before, connecting with people, you know exactly how I feel right now, and you know that worry, but you also know that, you know, that strength, and you know what you've had to deal with shows a lot. And going through this during these crazy times has shown me more strength than I ever knew. Like, you know, and you always say, yes, like we are strong women, but this has definitely been one of the reasons, like, I have found how strong I am. And
yeah,
I still have so many reasons to find out how strong I am. I know in my life. And like I said, at 22 years old, I thought life would be completely different. And I know that, but I wouldn't change a thing. And I want my eyesight back? Of course. But I have to keep going because I wouldn't change where I am in my life right now, because this is who I am now. And when I'm in
like, and it's totally shaped like your life and the way that you look at everything.
I even say, like, I go on interviews for jobs and I tell them, I just went through this experience. And sometimes people are like, you don't need to tell that. Like, and I'm like, but that's who I am. And that's why I keep going. And that's why I want to make a difference in your company, because I just went through something
huge,
tragic and a tragedy, but that's why I'm going and why I'm here and why I want to keep going. So it's kind of come back to me and has definitely taught me so much about myself. And to be able,
I would say you're definitely a resilient person. Like,
thank you. But to be able to share my story and be able to bring awareness to this is exactly what I want to do. It's what shapes us right now, but there are so many people in the future who will be diagnosed with this. But there's ways that we can cope with it, and being able to talk about it and being able to share our stories and show that you will be okay if you keep going is it's an honor, honestly. And
yeah. Well, I have 2 questions for you before we wrap up. Okay. First one is, if you could say one thing, maybe just one kind of overarching thing to someone who is in your shoes, maybe they're younger, and very like fresh to the diagnosis and can't see out of one of their eyes. Like, what would you like, and even if it, they don't know if they're going to, let's just say they're newly diagnosed. They're coming to this page, they're watching this interview, and they're just like, this sounds like my story. Like I could see fine. And then one day I couldn't. And they relate to you. Like, what would you tell that person to just go into this experience with, of just knowing what you know now, like that about Plaque Week, about, just leaning into your people, all of those different things. Like, what would you, if you could like wrap it up in like 30 seconds to a minute?
Yeah, I guess I would say to them, the reason, you might not know the reason now, and you might never know it, but take this and turn it into something more beautiful, because you are going to be able to see there are other people in the world who feel just like you. And I think I kind of keep going and keep that mindset of that I will be okay. And lean on your people, and it is okay not to be okay. But like I said, don't unpack there, keep going, and realize that life can change in 2 seconds, but there is a reason to keep living. And that is definitely what I've kind of have lived by during this, and keep on living, because there's so much more to see, but don't
I love
stop
that.
where you are. So.
Okay. Last question. And I didn't do this with the last interview, but I'm going to try and remember to do this with future interviews. Do you have a favorite quote unquote fight song? Like a song that you would just say, like, if when you hear this song, like it just makes you feel so powerful. And I don't know, like I just have a playlist of tons of music where I just listen to it. That reminds me of just like how powerful I really feel like I am, and that I can handle things that come my way, and just those kinds of things. So if you could pick one song, like what would that one song be?
I'm gonna say I Lived by,
Oh my gosh,
I don't even know who it's by.
it's Caleb and Kelly, I think, or
Yes.
Kelsey, Caleb and Kelsey, or something like that.
Yeah, and it's kind of just like, it literally wraps everything up. You don't know what's coming your way, but if you keep on going, you experience these crazy things in life. But if you've lived, and with me, I'm gonna keep living because of what's defining it. Doesn't.
Oh, I love that.
So.
Oh, and the lyrics for that song, if you ever want to look them up, like those of you listening, they're so powerful. But it's essentially just like that you go through life and you have all of these things that happen, and at the end of the day, you can sit back and you can say, like, with every broken bone that I've faced, with everything that I've faced, I can at least look back and I can say I lived this life. And I think that's definitely like, I mean, that's one of my crazy favorites. So that was fun. That's like one of yours too. Sure. But, I don't know, like just, I guess another one that comes to mind for me, like, yes. And like what Allison said in the comments, she said, I did it all. Don't mind the karaoke there. That just came out. No, I love that one. And another one, just listening to you talk I can't remember who it's by. There's a few different versions of it, but it's called Born for This. And just that idea that like, you know what, like you totally can handle whatever comes your way. Like you were born to handle this. And yeah, I just love that. So no, okay. Well, is there anything else that you feel like you want to share, or anything that you can think of other than, get your eyes dilated? People, get your eyes dilated and see them every year.
Yeah, get them dilated, get them checked. But I guess to wrap it all up, it's kind of, as much as I can say, keep going. The thank yous are endless for me, because I've gone through this at this age, and being able to right now stand up and thank people because I am okay, and knowing that I will be okay is probably is even coming on here and being able to like just thank you and thank you for relating to me. And like, I want to say, to my mom and my dad and my sister, I know you're all on here. Thank you. And it's to my nurses and my doctors, every person who has come into one of my rooms, thank you. And to, my boyfriend who has kept me laughing and crazy during all of this, thank you. And to all of my friends and all of my family, and to any person who maybe have touched me, to have this honor of being able to say thank you. Every person has come into my life during this and changed it because I needed help. And I will be there for anybody else who needs help. I say constantly, I know exactly what to do if somebody is in these shoes, because I have learned firsthand that you can keep going if you lean on those people. So I am incredibly grateful that I had this opportunity to come on here and share my story, kind of hopefully get involved in the future. I would love
no, for sure.
Like
as I feel the same way. Like I want to get involved. I want to, be at different events and things as they start having those again, and talk about this more. Like, I mean, I feel like there's just so many different things. Like if we were to just brain dump all of the ways that we could impact in our communities, just around us, like around in our normal everyday where we live community, here in Mesa, Arizona, for me, and for you in Pennsylvania, there's so many different ways that we could just impact and share this and be public and be courageous and like talking to people about this and just say like, look, like, I guess like cliche as it sounds, like I'm still standing. Like if I am still standing, you can too. So, okay, well, I'm going to wrap this up. We're going to hop off the live, and then we're going to wrap up our Zoom.
I constantly say, I believe, and
yes.
It's EYE, and that's how we keep going. So again, I can't thank you enough for giving me.
Oh, thank you. You guys, I mean, seriously, your whole family just for supporting you, your whole community for coming in and just listening to this video.
I know a lot of these names popping on here.
That's awesome. Well, for those of you who are listening, as you're finishing up this story and as we get this up for the recording, please share this video for Nicolette's story. Just let's spread her story around, because you never know. I'm going to be interviewing her in a couple weeks, but I came in contact with a woman who she is 20 years post-diagnosis and had never, ever contacted or been in contact, because Facebook didn't exist, Instagram didn't exist. Her doctors told her, you're never going to meet another person with ocular melanoma. So she never looked. And she's literally just now coming into our community. And thankfully she's still here. I know, like, isn't that amazing? But like it's just crazy. Like that we could just sharing Nicolette's story could literally be the reason that someone who is feeling isolated no longer feels alone. And who knows, like there is a community, there is, a tribe. There are people who will be there for you, who you can lean into, who you can rely on and relate to, and that you are not alone. Like you are not alone dealing with this, with any other rare cancer, rare diseases. So thank you so much for listening. And we will see you guys next time when I do another interview.
Thank you so much.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Okay, phone. Okay. Oh, stay. Okay.
Yay.
There we go. Okay, that was so good.
Thank you so much.